Tim Hughes, that's Brutal Bob Evans, and you're listening to That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. It's Money, it's Mike Britt, and we're going to talk a little wrestling, baby. You ready, brother?
Oh, yeah, baby. I'm ready. Happy Monday to you. Let's get it going.
Happy Monday, brother. How was your Father's Day?
Oh, man, my Father's Day was excellent, man. Went and seen the Godzilla movie and just hung out with my son and my family, and I can't complain at all. I'm a blessed man. How was yours there, Super Dave?
Oh, man, everything was perfect. Got to have a little bit of dinner with my family also. Worked on the show a little bit in the afternoon, man. Was a pretty laid-back day overall, man. The kind of day I really enjoy having. I need more of those days in my life, brother.
Ain't that the truth, brother? Appreciate Pops Day is always a good thing.
Absolutely, brother, absolutely. And we got a lot to talk about today, though, brother. I'm ready to hop into all this with you. First of all, we're going to talk about Fandango nearing a return. He's actually been spotted at the Performance Center. Going to touch on that. Farewell, Adam Rose. What? Evidently, Sasha Banks has some more drama surrounding her name. We're going to touch on that. And All In sold out in a record amount of time here. The numbers are staggering. We're going to touch on that with Mike Britt. Segment 2, we're going to play a little bit of random wrestling knowledge with Clyde. Going to be right back in segment 3 to close the show out with a little bit of AEW talk. Going to talk about Johnny Moxley showing up at another independent show. Going to touch on Rey Mysterio. He's actually announced the date he's going to return from his recent injury, and his son may be wrestling soon. We're going to touch on that a little bit. And also we're going to touch on what Batista had to say about AEW. So you ready to hop into all this, Mike?
Man, let's dive on in, baby. Let's do it.
Let's dive on. Speaking of diving in, I don't know if you've seen the news that Fandango has evidently dove back into training. He's been spotted at the WWE Performance Center recently.
No, man, I haven't heard that. I'm glad he's back, man. That's great. They had a nice little gimmick going for a while, man. Him and Tyler Breeze. So that's always good news, man.
It is always good news, dude. And I just wonder if, some of the speculation that I'm reading online is that they're actually going to have Fandango perform on NXT. I wonder if there's any way, any chance in hell, brother, that they're going to, get back together. I would love to see the two pair back up.
I would too, man. And if they're smart, I wouldn't do it at first. I would make it special. So maybe they'll have them do their single for a while, and then something happened, and then they form back up. But yeah, they were like lightning in a bottle, man. I don't think anybody thought that they would be the success they were, and they were probably just kind of thrown together. I'm thinking, but they were really good. They were entertaining, man, and I like a little comic relief in my violence sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes you do need some comic relief, dude, and that was some absolute gold, brother. When they was doing the Fashion Files there, and there was the big mystery about who was like stealing something or knocking them out every time the lights would go out. It was just straight comedy gold, brother. And like you said too, man, I really like that. Why not play it a little slow, like have one of them get beaten down for a while or something, and then finally have the other one come to their aid and play a nice storyline out of it, dude. Because they had lightning in a bottle there. Why not try to reignite the fire per se?
That's right, absolutely. Yeah, I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the news recently that Adam Rose actually has just stepped away from professional wrestling, brother. He Friday night he had his farewell match. Did you see that news?
No, man, I didn't. I really hate to see that. I seen a documentary on him a couple years ago. It might have been on NXT, and I know he had a son that was really ill and had a lot of medical problems. So I hate to hear that. I don't know if that was WWE's decision for him to depart or if that was his decision. But yeah, I seen him on YouTube on a couple videos a while back, and he kind of seemed like he was over it, man. His whole attitude was that he was over it. So I really don't know the story with that, man. But the guy was talented. He was real talented in the ring, and it was kind of a cool gimmick. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, he was talented, brother, and I'm just going to read you a quick quote here. Yeah, the self-proclaimed life of the party, once a superstar in NXT and WWE, is taking the party home to Tampa to spend time with his family and raise his 2 young sons, but not before one more chance to get in the ring, and this was this past Friday night. He wrestled at the Space Coast Convention Center, and was it in Florida, I believe, and he took on Bull James as a part of the Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling's Star Spangled Slammer, and I wonder just how much he's going to be remembered for his work in the ring, or really just for the massive entourage that it seems they've kind of like reignited, and they're using again with No Way Jose, brother. Do you think that, what do you think Adam Rose will be more remembered for with his time in WWE? Just the massive posse, or do you think his actual, ring acumen?
Well, unfortunately, the massive posse, and I want to say Braun Strowman was in that at one time too, if I'm not mistaken. It was probably a couple guys that are on the roster now that was in it. Unfortunately, probably the posse, man. But he was a good technician and a very sound wrestler. And it's unfortunate, but like you just touched on, that really coincides with that documentary I seen. Because I think his son was, had some kind of, I'm not sure the health problems, don't quote me, but he was having some kind of health problem, and it was a real heart-touching documentary I seen on him. So I could see that, man. I could see him wanting to spend more time with his family and stuff. And maybe when they get to a point, that he feels like he could step away, and maybe, who knows, man, maybe he could open a wrestling school, because he was very, very sound in the ring, very, very incredible talent. So, yeah, man, you got to do what you got to do, man. As much as we love wrestling, being a father is a much bigger calling than a professional wrestler. So I tip my hat to him, man. All the respect in the world for him.
Yeah, well said, Mike, especially on the being a father part. Sometimes you got to get your priorities in line, and what is more important in life than being there with your family, especially if they actually need you like that, brother. And the thing about Adam Rose that I was wanting to touch on with you too was that like you said, the NXT days and that documentary that you was talking about, brother, was that the same one that they had Xavier Woods on? And I believe they had it was like Dusty and Triple H several times was sitting around the table kind of debating on who to call up and what to do with guys, and you could kind of almost see how torn they was with Adam Rose, brother. Like, sometimes they really do have to make some really tough decisions in those war rooms as who to push and who to cut bait with. I think Dusty was using the term like it's time to either cut bait or fish with some of these guys, and Adam Rose was one of them, brother. And sometimes those decisions got to be tough to make for the executives.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the same documentary, and yeah, absolutely, that was the case, and yeah, that's a tough decision, man, especially when you're in a role like Triple H or Dusty was. Them guys are passionate, and they're working their butt off, and they're ready to go to the big time, and sometimes you got quite a bit of talent that's ready to go up, and you got to make that decision. Who do you think will fit now on TV better? What will work better on what role? And yeah, that was a documentary, and like I said, it was very touching, man, and I'm sure that's a hard call to make sometimes.
Yeah, it was a really good show, man, and you could really see, though, the way that Triple H and Dusty's eyes both lit up when they would talk about Xavier Woods on that documentary. They was both like, this guy's going to be a future star for our company, and they was certainly right. They hit that one right on the head, brother.
Boy, they sure did. I remember him wrestling in TNA, and I cannot remember the character he was. It was kind of a Apollo Creed kind of character, and I want to say his name was Creed, and he come out with the big USA hat and living in America, and I said, this is good right here. And when I watched him wrestle, I was like, this guy's gonna be good, man. So apparently after that he went to NXT, but the rest is history, as they say in the New Day. So he's had a great run and a great character, Xavier Woods.
Yeah, brother, absolutely. And speaking of a great character, Sasha Banks has been a great character for the WWE. And I don't know, and I'm sure you've seen over the last several months since WrestleMania all the drama that's been going on with Sasha. And just the other day, there was a fan that tweeted this out right here, brother. I want to read it to you. It says, "With every passing Raw and SmackDown, I grow less and less interested in the product. I'm starting to realize that I'm supporting a crap company for its past greatness rather than critiquing its current crap. I can't even sit through Raw or SmackDown anymore," is what the fan tweeted out. And the word wasn't crap, you can fill in the blank there, brother. But
yeah.
And Sasha actually liked that tweet, and so I'm curious, what do you think's going on with Sasha Banks, and do you think she's nearing her return with the company, or do you think she's nearing her departure, brother?
Well, from what it sounds like she's ready for a departure. I haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen her on TV in quite a while, man. And she was, I always enjoyed her feuds with. I thought her and Charlotte did a lot of good work together. That was some great matches, and they were revolutionary in my opinion. The cage matches and the fights they had up in the stands, and wow, what incredible matches. I mean, a lot of the men's matches couldn't hold a candle to their feud. And it definitely seems like she's not happy in the direction things are going, man. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, man. Maybe she's at a spot where, her contract could be coming up. She's ready to split.
Yeah, brother, and that's what I was thinking too, man, because like you were saying, you hadn't seen her on TV in a while, and, audience, please correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen her on TV since she lost the titles to the Iconics at WrestleMania, brother.
Well, yeah, you know what? And come to think of it, that's when I started hearing a little bit of heat that she was upset because they didn't get the belts. And, I remember seeing a little bit of that and hearing her voice her opinion about not getting the belts and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, since then, I haven't seen her either. I haven't heard nothing from her, actually.
Yeah, brother, but speaking of something that we are hearing a lot from, dude, I don't know if you've seen these numbers for AEW's All In or not. When the tickets went on sale, they sold out in 15 minutes. And just the other day, Cody was on Twitter, and he was teasing all the fans that, don't worry, everybody be calm and patient. There's enough tickets for everyone. He did the same thing with the last couple of shows, too. And, of course, he knows they're all going to sell out in minutes. He's just teasing. But, yeah, dude, sold out in 15 minutes, over 11,000 tickets for the Sears Center for All In, brother. And listen to this stat right here. I want to read this to you. According to Dave Meltzer, roughly 72,500 fans were in the online queue in the first 30 minutes of tickets going sale. They calculated the promotion could have sold double the amount of tickets. Dave Meltzer stated that the event sold out faster than any event he's ever heard of, including WrestleMania. What's your thoughts on that, brother?
Wow, and wow. That is pretty incredible, man. It really is. Dude, I'm gonna tell you what. If WWE, or if they don't have their eyes on this, they're crazy, and I'm sure they do, man. The fans are passionate and they're ready for it, and it's a fire. And yeah, man, I'm excited about AEW, man. I really am. I'll be glad when they get rolling on their TV, their weekly deal on TV and everything. It was a milestone to me. The beginning of it was when they sold out. And correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Madison Square Garden? Like one of the first things that they did, and they sold out maybe last summer or so. And that was
you're talking about All In, and that was the Sears Center. Actually, it was the same place that they're selling out again here for All Out, brother. Here it's in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yes,
is that
sir.
right?
Sold it out in minutes, though. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's something else, man. I'm telling you, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, and yeah, that's pretty exciting, man. And I'm not surprised, man. Everything I've seen up to this point, man, these guys are phenomenal wrestlers, man. And John Moxley coming into the picture, Dean Ambrose the way he did, and at first when Cody wrestled his brother, I thought, okay, but then when I started reading up on it and how they wanted to work together in WWE, and it was kind of buried at WrestleMania, they didn't give it the attention it deserved, and then I actually watched the match, I was like, wow, what a story! I mean, it was a story, man. It's such a good match. Yeah. I'm excited.
I love the way it ended because he was like, you can't, after Cody, after that, I know we're getting off topic here a little bit, so excuse us, audience, but yeah, after that match ended with him and Cody cried in the ring there, and he said, you can't retire now because you're my brother and I need you. And now, of course, they're going to team up and wrestle against the Young Bucks here upcoming in this All-In event that just sold out the other, that quick, brother. And also, we're going to see Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in what should be a dynamite match at that event too, brother.
Wow, yeah. I'm gonna tell you what, man. It's always and I credit Vince McMahon because he's always took a lot of reality and mixed it with fiction, and I think that's a good line if you can blur the lines. But just what you quoted about Cody and Dustin, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think there's a lot of heart when they were having that conversation because I think they did have some friction at times and were a little distant because of the age difference and stuff. But, yeah, man, there was a lot of heart to that. And I think when he said it to him, I think he really meant it too, man.
I do too, brother. It almost, like you said, it almost felt like a real moment, like a healing moment for two brothers that was just bigger than themselves even. It felt real and it felt huge. And it's not that all that often in wrestling that you really get that type of moment, Even though, like you said, Vince created it, you don't see them every day, though,
I was just going to ask you, when is the last time you've seen something like that? I mean, the Kofi winning the belt was great. He deserved it, but to me it was so manufactured, you knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? But the things that you're seeing in AEW right now, the storylines that you're seeing, is because you knew Dean Ambrose was ready to leave, and then when he showed up, you're so invested in that, man, because you knew he was ready to leave, and he felt like he was tied down to WWE. And now the storyline with Dustin and Cody. And yeah, man, it's good stuff. And if that's any indication of how the show is going to be and how the program's going to be, I'll tell you, man, we got a lot to look forward to. We really do.
Absolutely, brother. And speaking of a lot to look forward to, brother, we got to hop out and pay some bills real quick here, brother. But we're going to be right back to play a little bit of random wrestling knowledge with Clyde. And Mike, thank you so much for taking a few moments to join us today. Do you have any closing thoughts before we hop out?
No, I don't. The future is so bright. I got to wear shades. Let me tell you, because there's a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'm excited. And the podcast is on fire. And I just want to thank everybody for listening, and keep listening, man. There's a lot of good stuff coming on, and maybe some special appearances on the podcast. You just never know.
You never know. Maybe some humongous news later in the week. Stay tuned, folks. You never know. Mike Britt might be back to break some big news later in the week. And also check us out at Mike Britt's going to run a new group here. He's kind of like That Wrestling Podcast South now. He's running his own page there, That Wrestling Group on Facebook. Please check it out. Sign up for it. He's going to have it updated with all kinds of cool local stuff from indie wrestling scene down in the Gulf Shores area, in the Gulf Coast area. And it's also just going to be updated with all kinds of wrestling news. So please stay tuned to that page also, folks.
Absolutely, man.
Sorry, Mike, I was going to roll out, brother, but go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
Absolutely, man. You were like Mick Foley with a cheap plug, baby, and I appreciate you, baby.
Oh, no problem. That's what we do. I'm just not coming off the top of the cage for you, brother, but I'll gladly plug anything you want, baby.
I hear you. So you'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, folks, thanks for listening. We'll be right back with segment number 2. Hello, I'm Richard, but you can call me Dick. And I'm going to talk about something today that not a lot of men really like to talk about. But sometimes after a long day in the saddle, I get a little itching in my nether region. And that's why I got with my friend Peter here and created a wonderful product. You tell him about it, Peter.
Well, my name's Peter. I'll tell you, you got an itch and you get up. There ain't nothing better for that itch than Texas ball cream.
That's right, it's Texas Ball Cream. You can pick us up at all your local retailers. Just ask the pharmacist for Texas Ball Cream. Coming Tuesdays to That Wrestling Podcast Network, a family that will push you over the edge.
Damn it, Jezebel, where's my dinner?
The Good Times.
God bless you, Larry Flint.
The Madness.
Damn it, Jezebel, I said 2 cans of Grizzly Mint.
The Personal Moments.
Damn it, can I get some privacy?
Johnny Wildfire and Jezebel Wildfire are the Wildfires.
Somebody call the damn police.
Welcome back. Segment number 2. And man, what a segment we have for you guys today. We have a special guest, Mr. Daniel Alexander, all the way from, it's Alexander, right, brother?
Yes, from Vancouver, Canada, Sky Sports.
Yes, sir. I wanted to make sure I got that correct, brother. And thank you for joining us all the way from the Pacific Northwest up there, brother. How are things tonight up in Canada?
Everything's good. Nice and mild weather, and just watching some wrestling and having a good time, you know?
Now, we got Clyde with us also on this segment. Here in a moment, we're going to do something really special. But real quick, Clyde, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, brothers. So, enjoyed, we had Father's Day here today, and just enjoying it and capping off my evening talking to you fine gentlemen.
Yeah, well, nothing finer than doing what we're getting ready to do here in just 1 second. But, Daniel, do you care to talk a little bit about, your wrestling knowledge and your background in wrestling and kind of how, what drew you to the sport and, how did you become a fan?
Well, I was a fan at 2 years old or 4 years old. I used to watch WCW back in the days, Saturday Night Main Event, and I used to watch a lot of WWF back in the days, a lot of the WrestleManias and the SummerSlams. And I'm a wrestling historian at the moment. I know all the WWF, WCW, ECW, and a whole bunch of the smaller promotions like ROH and just a bunch of the Canadian wrestling associations like Chinlock Wrestling and just a bunch of wrestling. I can just go on and on and on. But yeah, just the main ones. Usually I watch WWE at the moment and TNA Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I've noticed that just chatting back and forth with you on Facebook, brother, that you kind of just, I mean, your knowledge seems vast, and honestly, Clyde has been saying for a long time, and I'm fully, I'm fully in support of that. We've been needing to get you on the show, so we're happy to have you on tonight, brother. And what better way to test everyone's knowledge than with this little segment we like to call Random Wrestling Knowledge with Clyde. Are you guys ready to play? Clyde, are you ready, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Daniel, are you ready, brother?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, audience, feel free to play along at home. Every show we ask Clyde, in this case it's going to be Clyde and Daniel, 3 random wrestling-related questions, and they're literally coming from out of nowhere. So without further ado, gentlemen, let's hop in. Who do you guys want to go first? How do y'all want to settle this?
I'll let Daniel go first. He's our new guest here.
All right, sounds fair enough. Daniel, here we go. Question number 1, brother. Are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
How many times has Batista won the Royal Rumble? How many times, brother?
I'm going to say Batista has won the Royal Rumble 2 times.
All right, let's see here. Mr. Producer Man, and sorry, the producer is always picking his nose, brother. I don't know what his deal is, but let's see what he says. Mr. Producer Man, 2 times. Well done, Daniel. Well done, Daniel. Absolutely correct. 2 times. Just curious, do you know the years? This is just for like bonus points here.
I don't know the exact years, but I remember Batista won the championship so many times off of Triple H, so
yeah, it was
maybe 2005 or something like that.
Yes, sir. 2005 and 2014. Well done, Daniel, dude. Well done, brother. Clyde, are you ready for question 1? He's ratcheting up the pressure on you, brother.
Oh yeah, he's the truth, brother. I'm ready to go. Let's see what I can do.
All right, brother. Here we go. How many times has Batista held the WWE tag championships? How many times has he held them?
WWE Tag Champions.
Yeah. How many times total has he held them? Throughout his career.
I'm gonna say he won those titles twice.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 2 times.
Santa Maria.
That's all right, brother. That was probably a little tougher question than the first one, though. That's all right. He's actually held them. 4 times total. 2 times with Ric Flair, once with Cena, and once with Rey Mysterio. He was also tag champ.
Sounds about right.
Daniel, you ready for question number 2, brother?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. You got a chance here to get a little bit of breathing room, brother. All right, here we go. Question number 2. How many times has Triple H held the Intercontinental Championship, brother? How many times?
Oh, that's a hard question. I'm going to say 4 times.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 4 times. Oh, good try, Daniel. You really good try. You was really close, brother. It's actually 5 times. 5 times, brother.
Yeah.
Good try, though, brother. So you're still ahead 1-0. Here we go. Going back to Clyde. And in case we do end in a tie, we have a tiebreaker question for you guys, too. So here we go. Going back to Clyde here. Question number 2. Clyde, here we go. How many times has Triple H won the Royal Rumble, Clyde?
Oh, the Royal Rumble, Triple H. I'm going to say Triple H has won the Royal Rumble once. One time.
Is that final answer, brother?
Yes, sir. It's final answer.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 1 time. Final answer. It's all right, Clyde, brother. No, you've had a long day today, brother. He has actually won it twice.
Good Lord, that was close, huh?
Yeah, close enough, right? 1, 2. That's what Neville said last time. He said, "I'll just go ahead and give it to me." That's what he said. Daniel, brother, you ready for question number 3?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Very important question here. This could seal the win for you if you get it right, brother. All right. How many times did Bret Hart win the WWF World Heavyweight Championship? How many times did Bret Hart win that?
That would be an easy question for Clyde since he's such a Bret Hart historian. And I know he won the title off of Ric Flair. That's guaranteed in Winnipeg, Canada. Damn, that's a hard one. I'm just going to go with 4 times.
Mr. Producer Man, show me 4 times. You guys are doing good though tonight because you're very close. I would be horrible, by the way. Let me just take a moment to let you guys know I would be 0 for 5 at this point. So you guys are doing better than I would.
Can I snatch the question?
Do you want to steal, Boog? Do you want to use your steal? Do you want to attempt to steal the question?
Do
That's
I
up
have
to Daniel.
a steal option?
I'll leave it
Do
up
it, brother. I'll be honored for Clyde to spread some historian knowledge on Bret Hart, brother.
How many times, Clyde?
5 times, brother.
All right, Clyde.
Hey, Daniel's close. Bro.
Stepping in and stealing. I like this. I hope this does go to the bonus round. This will be fun. All right, so I guess I don't know whose question this will be at this point, but here we go. Here we go. All right, I guess this will be. Now we pass it back to Daniel at this point, Clyde. I guess that's what we have to do, brother. To be fair.
Yeah, it's definitely his. He threw me the bone there.
Yeah, so this is for Daniel, and if he gets it right, he wins, and if he doesn't get it right, then we go to the bonus question. Here we go. What year did Bret Hart win the Royal Rumble? What year did Bret Hart win the Royal Rumble, Daniel? For all the marbles, brother.
Wow. Okay. Bret Hart wins the Royal Rumble. 1994. Final answer.
This is for all the marbles. Let's see, gentlemen. He says 1994. Final answer. Oh, my goodness.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there will be.
What a round. What a round that was. You guys want to take a stab at this bonus question? I'm just dying to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
All right, here, this is just for the fun of it. Let's see who gets closest, okay? Let's see who gets closest on this days. And congratulations, by the way, Daniel, for winning this segment here tonight. And let's go ahead and just try this just for some fun here. Bret Hart held the WWF World Heavyweight Championship for the most combined days in the 1990s. Bret Hart held that championship for the most days combined. Which one of you gentlemen can guess the closest to how many days that was? Clyde, do you want to take a stab at it?
Oh, Lord. I will say 535 days.
Daniel, would you like to take a stab at it, brother?
Let's go 365 days.
I like that. 1 year out of the 10, 365 days. The correct answer was 654 days total in the 90s.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Should have just gave it to him for the whole decade.
Yeah, right. Daniel, would you have argued with that if Bret Hart was the champion for the entire decade of the 90s? Would you have liked to seen that?
No, I loved him in 1997 when he was with the Hart Foundation. Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith, Brian Pillman. It was awesome. My favorite year is 1997.
Wow. Clyde, what was your favorite year of wrestling?
1997, for the same reason, brother.
Wow, you guys have a lot going on there in common, brother. And speaking of the Hart Foundation, Daniel, didn't you just recently have a chance to meet someone special?
Yes, I did. I just met Davey Boy Smith Jr., British Bulldog's son, last night. He gave me a signed picture, and we took a photograph together, and I'm hoping to meet him in September again, and also I'll meet his uncle, Bret Hart, in November, and a VIP pass.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be awesome.
Exciting times coming up for you, Mr. Alexander. Well, first of all, tonight you had the big win. You got a lot of big stuff coming up in the future, brother. It's looking like, the future's looking bright for you, brother.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be on that wrestling podcast. I watch it every day. I put all the likes and shares, and just, David, you're an awesome guy, and thank you very much, Clyde, for being such an awesome opponent tonight.
And it's an honor and privilege, brother.
And before we hop off, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But before we do, Daniel, do you have any closing thoughts? Do you have anything you want to plug or anything, brother?
All-Star Wrestling is what I was at last night, and I'm hoping to meet more wrestlers, and I'm going to send you more pictures and everything, and I'm so happy Clyde was on the phone with us tonight, and it was an awesome segment, and I can't wait to listen to it live.
Absolutely, brother, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon. And before we hop out, Clyde, do you have any closing thoughts for Mr. Alexander tonight?
Oh, the same sentiments, man. Thanks for coming. I've been wanting you to be on the show for a while. I'm glad we could finally get it all going, get you on here. You're one of my favorite human beings, man. It's great having you on here.
All right, damn it, enough love. That's enough love, damn it. Too many kisses and hugs. No, all right, guys. Thanks both of you gentlemen for joining us. We're going to hop out for a quick commercial break. We will be right back to wrap the show up, talk a little bit of AEW with Clyde. Introducing the one and only Lock in a Sock. Don't be caught without Lock in a Sock when you need it. Lock in a Sock is fun for the whole family. Even Grandma loves Lock in a Sock. Don't be fooled by these cheap imitations. There is only one Lock in a Sock. For only 3 easy payments of $199.99, you can have your very own Lock in a Sock. But wait, there's more. Call in the next 10 minutes and receive free shipping. That's right, free shipping and processing. Just call 1-800-976-LOCK. Operators are standing by. Lock in a Sock. The following is a paid advertisement for Squirrel Treatment Centers of America. That Wrestling Podcast is not responsible for any products in this ad. Do you suffer from ACE, also known as atypical constant ejaculation? Well, you are not alone. And now, thanks to the Scrotal Treatment Center of America's patented new Semenese technology, you can get your problem taken care of. It's a series of 3 invasive laser-guided injections that'll have you up and running in no time. That's the Scrotal Treatment Centers of America. Not only am I a spokesman, but I'm a client. Welcome back. Segment number 3. What a show it's been so far. And now we're back with Clyde, and Daniel's actually hanging around for segment number 3. We're going to talk a little bit of Rey Mysterio and AEW. Are you ready, Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Clyde, you ready to do this, brother?
I'm ready to go, brother.
So I don't know if you guys seen, I guess both of you guys have seen the news by now that Rey Mysterio had injured his shoulder a few weeks ago, and he kind of had to relinquish that United States Championship. Well, he's been in the news again recently because he said he could be back as soon as late June or early July. And, what do you think about that, Daniel? Do you think Mysterio could be back in the ring soon enough? And if he is, do you think we'll see him right back in the title picture?
Right now, I think the storyline with Rey Mysterio and his son with Samoa Joe is really good for WWE. I've been watching the Saudi Arabia. They've been Undertaker and Goldberg and all that. So they need big stars in WWE right now. So I think Rey Mysterio would make the ratings go up.
Clive, what do you think about the possibility of Mysterio returning to the ring, sooner rather than later? And if he does, do you think they'll kind of, inject him right back into the title scene, brother?
Oh yeah, I'm with Daniel on that, man. Ray is a globally known superstar. I believe he is the kind of wrestler that does affect ratings, and people just love the guy all over the world, man. I don't know too many wrestling fans that are not a fan of Rey Mysterio.
And speaking of, being a fan of Mysterio, guys, I'm thinking, and I guess the WWE obviously sees the same thing too. His 22-year-old son Dominic, we've all seen him on programming lately, and the word is though that he hasn't actually officially signed with WWE, but he is kind of debating, whether or not to do that. Now I don't know if that's just WWE throwing up smoke signals, kind of trying to distract people from actually signing this young man. And if so, just what do you guys think about Dominic in general? And Daniel, I'd love to hear your thoughts on him. Do you think that he has, future WWE superstar written all over him or not, brother?
Well, he has the genetics to become a wrestling superstar at the moment. I believe he was on another wrestling show. I'm not sure if it was ROH Impact or it was AEW, but I saw he had blonde hair on one show, and that was apparently his son too. But I learned that Rey Mysterio's son is training at the moment at the in Florida right now. He's training to become a superstar. So I think Rey Mysterio's son could become a main player in the storylines.
Clyde, your thoughts on Dominic, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. He's kind of, he's grew up with us wrestling fans back in the day with the great storyline with Eddie Guerrero, which I'll never forget that. It's kind of like we've watched this kid grow up, man. So, he's got a lot of people pulling for him, and like Mr. Alexander said there, he is training down at NXT, trying to get everything going right. He's got some good size to him, man. He's a good sized guy too, so we'll see what happens in the future.
I can't tell how big he is actually because everyone looks so huge, and this is not a knock on Ray, but everybody looks big standing next to Ray, so I really can't tell how big Dominic is, you know?
He looks like he's around 6'1" to me, maybe 6'2", somewhere around there.
Well, speaking of somebody that's just big all around, and not just talking about their stature, but just big, you know, globally right now, it's Jon Moxley, fellas. And I don't know if you guys seen, but over the weekend, he actually did another independent show at the Northeast Wrestling Brass City Brawl. Jon Moxley faced and defeated another AEW star, Darby Allin. And after the match, you know, Moxley got on the mic to praise Allin, and here's what he said, quote, "That was one crazy match," Moxley began, "because Darby Allin is one crazy bastard. You guys are fortunate enough to be in a high school gym like this tonight to see independent wrestling up close and personal with the most passionate type of wrestlers you'll find anywhere in the world right now." And you know, what do you think about you know, Moxley's, I guess, do you call this a world tour, Daniel? What do you think about what Moxley's been up to, brother?
Well, I saw Jon Moxley in AEW, and I've actually seen that Darby Allin in a four-way match in Ballroom Brawl ECCW here in Vancouver. So I know Darby Allin's a really a good competitor for Jon Moxley. But I think Jon Moxley doing the independent scene is really good. And I think last night he went against Big Cass.
Oh, wow.
Jon Moxley and Big Cass.
Wow, I mean, he's just everywhere, brother. And Clyde, what do you think about this? You know, Moxley's becoming like a worldwide phenomenon. Is he like, you know, is he wrestling's version of a Michael Jackson or something at this point, brother?
Yeah, I love what he's done, man. You know, he's a wrestler's wrestler. He loves professional wrestling, whether it's in front of the gym or, you know, 80,000 people at WrestleMania. And yeah, he picked up the win too against. I want to call him Big Cass. I know they're probably calling him something else now.
It's Big Cass, and you can't teach that.
He hit him with that DDT, and that was it, brother. I noticed Enzo didn't take the ball.
Do you like the new? I don't know if did you see that DDT? How he does the dirty deeds now? He's kind of at it like an angle. He does it like at an angle now. Have you seen how he does that?
Yeah, man, I like it.
Putting a little stank on it. What Stone Cold say that he's putting a little stank on it now is what he said.
Yeah, it looks nasty, man. I like what he's doing, man. He's always been somebody that really loves being a professional wrestler. So I love it. I dig it, man.
And speaking of somebody that seemed to love being a professional wrestler, that's Dave Batista. And I don't know if you guys seen what he had to say recently, but he sat down with Chris Van Fleet for a lengthy interview here recently. And during the interview, he actually said that he's done wrestling and that he won't wrestle again. And if he ever was to wrestle again, it would be with WWE, of course. But he just basically was putting any rumors to bed that he would return to the ring anytime soon. And but here's a quote I wanted to read to both of you gentlemen. Here's what he said about AEW, and then I want to get your thoughts. He said, "I don't see it as a legitimate competition to WWE. I see it as competition, which is great. There should always be competition. But until they actually produce one of their own major stars, until they actually have a production that is as big as WWE, I mean, WWE has already got the next 3 generations of superstars because they have NXT camps all over the world right now. So they're so far ahead of the game that I don't see any real competition, and it's not even close." And Daniel, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
Well, I think AEW is real competition for WWE. At the moment, they're going to be on the Turner Network, TNT again, just like how the old WCW was. And then SmackDown is going to Friday, so and AEW is going to go to Tuesday. So I think they will have some TV going on for and I heard it's going to be in Canada on TSN also.
Oh, well, thanks for plugging that.
AEW is going to be on TSN.
Yeah, we had no idea where it was going to be on in Canada, so thank you for sharing that with our brothers up north because we know that's a wrestling hotbed up there, brother, and if they hope to make any inlets with WWE, they're going to have to be on up there, brother.
Yes, sir, TSN.
And Clyde, your thoughts on Batista, brother? What do you think what he has to say? I mean, is AEW competition for WWE?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think Batista... He's such a WWE guy, and I know him and Triple H are very close. So I think it's him kind of kind of pulling for the home team, which he should be doing. But for him to say that they're not competition, I don't know, man. I think they're already competition. You know, look at the show they did and how well it did. And then there's the rumblings of CM Punk. I mean, if that happens, man, I think it's just going to take them even further.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I mean, I don't know if you've seen what Cody said recently. He was quoted as saying he will always put AEW ahead of CM Punk. So I don't know if they've had some negotiations or if this is maybe secretly Punk is signed behind the scenes and they're already trying to create a little friction for when he does come out and confront somebody. I don't know, but I did see Cody said something like that. And I want to touch on this with you guys real quick, one last topic, because me and Mike Britt actually touched on this earlier, but I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Speaking of AEW as competition for WWE, I don't know if you guys seen All In, the upcoming event All In for AEW, sold out in a record 15 minutes, guys. Over 11,000 tickets. They had over 72,500 fans in the queue online. Over 72,000 fans waiting to buy tickets. And check this out. Dave Meltzer said this on his Wrestling Observer radio show. The event sold out faster than any event he's ever heard of, including WrestleMania. Daniel, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
Well, if there's 72,000 fans waiting to get tickets to be front row at the show, just imagine how many people are going to be watching the pay-per-view online or watching the pay-per-view, buying the pay-per-view. So it's probably going to be millions of people watching also. And yeah, I think AEW is awesome, and I can't wait to watch it. I believe it's going to be John Moxley versus Kenny Omega.
Yes, it is, brother.
And I love Kenny Omega.
Yeah, me too, brother. John Moxley, Omega. Then you're going to have Cody and Dustin taking on the Bucks, brother. That's going to be a heck of a match. And Clyde, what's your thoughts on those ticket numbers and then the other numbers that Dave Meltzer revealed, and just the whole not even seeing WrestleMania sell out that quick? What do you think about all this, brother?
Oh, it's very impressive, man. It's not surprising so much, though. It feels like we're in the middle of a great renaissance with wrestling, man. It seems like everything from the indies all the way up to, WWE, and now, of course, AEW. It's a great time, I think, to be a wrestling fan right now.
Really does, gentlemen. It feels like a renaissance, and in a way, though, and I will say this though, it almost feels like the programs are kind of competing for different eyeballs. It's like the families and the women and children and stuff have WWE, and then like the people like who got lost along the way 15, 20 years ago, they've been kind of lost the whole time anyway, and they're looking for something new. And I just kind of feel like it's just different eyeballs on the products, but it still is a competition, but I don't think it's a direct competition. You know what I mean, Daniel?
Yes, I believe what you're saying is they're trying to keep it PG-13 for WWE, and I think AEW is about 14A right now at the moment.
Absolutely, brother. That's what I'm saying. And Clyde, do you think that will be good for wrestling as a whole? Is having some TV 14 programming and keeping WWE like more wholesome, brother? Do you think that will be good for just attracting more eyeballs in general?
Yeah, I think it will. WWE might have to be forced, as much as they don't want to say this is a war, and a lot of them are acting like AEW don't even count. I think they might have to up their game eventually here soon too, especially once AEW gets rolling on television.
Well, speaking of upping our game, guys, we upped our game today. We had a very special guest all the way from Vancouver, Canada, Mr. Daniel Alexander, brother. Once again, we truly appreciate you taking a few moments to join us. And Clyde, do you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up the show today, brother? Do you want to go ahead and put a bow on this episode?
Yeah, brother. Everybody out there's listening, thanks. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and special shout out to Daniel here, man. We appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we can get you back in the very near future, brother.
Yeah, Daniel, thanks for joining us, brother.
Yeah, appreciate everything. I have two pages to plug. Unleashed Wrestling and Elevation Pro. It's kind of like you do your own promos, and it's really fun, and anybody can do a promo. And I've been seeing Davey Boy Smith Jr., and I'm going to see Bret Hart in November, and I'm going to see Davey Boy Smith again in September. So I'm going to go to a lot of wrestling shows, and I really enjoyed being on the podcast today on That Wrestling Podcast.
We enjoyed having you on That Wrestling Podcast, brother. And what a wrestling itinerary you have lined up for the next few months. Can't wait to hear status reports from that. Please send lots of pictures. We will gladly share those on thatwrestlingpodcast.com. And people, if you like us out there, put us over. If not, let us know. We'll do a job for you on your show. That's the way we roll right here on That Wrestling Podcast. And having said that, we will catch you guys on the next one. And you can't teach that.
Oh, cool. That's right, baby.
Rolex wearing, limousine driving. The following is a paid advertisement. That Wrestling Podcast is not responsible for any claims, guarantees, or products in this ad. Hey ladies out there, you having trouble getting somebody to pay you a few dollars? Well, contact Paulie and Paul's Intervention, Mediation, and Protection Services today. Intervention.
You need us to intervene, smack a couple guys around? No problem.
Mediation. We can mediate your problem today. Protection.
You need your money, you need it now. We'll go find them, smack them around. Nobody's got to know a thing.
That's Paulie and Paul's Intervention, Mediation, and Protection Services, also known as PIMP. The following is a paid advertisement for Dick Drizzle for Congress 2020. As a local business owner for over 20 years, Dick Drizzle has helped to provide jobs and stabilize our economy. As a city councilman, his Clean Streets initiative have our streets cleaner than ever, and we now have our very own 5K marathon. His humble beginnings and modest lifestyle keeps him connected to the people that matter most. Dick Drizzle, his policies work for you. Vote Dick Drizzle for Congress 2020.